At least 50 people were injured in Dhaka when the students clashed with hundreds of paramilitary personnel during a protest for a job regularization of the clashes that began around 9:20 p.m. near the Secretariat when Dhaka University students, responding to the reports that several students, including Nahid Islam, a student leader and advisor in the caretaker government, had been detained by members of Ansar. A paramilitary auxiliary force attempted to disperse the Ansar protest demanding permanent employment. Both groups hurled bricks at each other during the confrontation leading to the involvement of police and military forces to restore the order. Earlier in the day, the Ansar members had ended their protest after receiving assurances from the Lieutenant Governor, who's retired Jahangir Alam Chaudhary, the interim government Home Affairs advisor. However, tensions escalated as students accused the Ansar force of raining on the agreement. Joining me on the broadcast is my colleague Brian. Brian, what we can see after the interim government has been sworn in the Bangladesh after days of unrest is yet another stir in the protest that has been coming from the student groups. As per the reports, they have also hurled, the two groups have hurled bricks at each other. What essentially led to this chaos and unrest unfolding on the streets of Dhaka, and how was it restored to normalcy, and what is the situation at the ground at this moment?
Well, Simran, violent clashes have definitely erupted between students and Ansar members near the Secretariat in Dhaka, which is Bangladesh's capital, which happened on Sunday night, which also resulted in injuries on both sides. Now, the confrontation began after 9 p.m. with both groups engaging in a series of chases, and police intervened to restore order during the chaos. Earlier also, to give more perspective, Simran, students from various Dhaka University dormitories also had gathered at Raju Memorial Sculpture, intending to march to the Secretariat and confront Ansar members, whom they referred to as agents of autocracy. Now, the escalation followed reports that Ansar members were detaining Nahid Islam, who is an advisor in the interim government and coordinator of the Students Against Discrimination movement, along with coordinator Sarjees Alam, Hasnat Abdullah and others also at the Secretariat. The student protest coordinator Hansat Abdullah also in a Facebook post accused former Ansar Director General, Major General rather, AKM Aminul Haq of maintaining a blockade at the Secretariat even after the demands of protesting Ansar members were met. Hansat also rather urged people to gather in front of the Raju Memorial Sculptures at Dhaka University. Now, AKM Animul Haq also is the elder brother of Deputy Minister of Water Resources, aka Enamul Haq Shamim. And in his Facebook post also, Hasnat wrote that everyone should come to Raju and the autocratic forces are trying to make a comeback through the Ansar forces. And even after the demands were met, they still kept locked in the Secretariat. And earlier in the day also, Ansar members definitely had ended the protest after receiving assurance from Lieutenant General, retired rather, Jahangir Alam Chaudhary, the interim government's advisor for Home Affairs. And the members had been demonstrating this for 2 days, demanding the nationalization of their jobs. Simran.
All right, Brian, thank you with all these latest inputs from the ground as far as the unrest and chaos that has been ensued in Bangladesh continues. Now joining me on the broadcast is diplomat Suresh Goyal on the broadcast. I appreciate you joining on the broadcast, sir. Thank you for speaking to NewsX. What essentially is your take on the current situation that has been unfolding, even days of unrest in Bangladesh? Now on the streets of Dhaka, even the new government has been sworn in. The unrest and the violent clashes continue between the members of the student groups as well. What has been leading to these dissatisfaction among the student groups essentially, and how the situation in Bangladesh can be tamed even the new government has come into being?
Difficult to say anything at all, but one or two things which come to my mind immediately are that even after the change of government as prompted and basically because of the protest by the students in Bangladesh, I would guess that the situation would take some time to become normal. At the same time, there are political tensions in Bangladesh essentially caused by those who wanted to really see the back of Sheikh Hasina government, accused of corruption and accused of autarky, accused of more or less like a dictatorship in the country. And many people have actually talked about the way she ran the government, but that was a change that the government they wanted. Unfortunately, what seems to be happening is that there are extremist elements which seem to be taking hold of now the movement and the protest on the ground. I think it's important for the government to really end this violence and basically make sure that the government does not become now hostage to the extremist elements. There is a serious risk of that happening if the violence is allowed to continue.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.